it. You are making new heart in the soil I now surrender. You are breaking new ground. So I yield to you until you give what I am. When I trust you, I don't need to understand. Make me a vessel. Make me an offering. Make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing, but all you have given me. Jesus, renew wine out of me. In the crashing, in the pressing, you are making new wine. In the soul I now surrender. You are breaking new ground. You are breaking new ground. Make me a vessel. Make me an offering. Make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing, but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to Thriving in Abundance Talk. And of course, today is a big day. It is a big day because we are launching a new movement offered by Econo Thrive Global, and it is called Woman Thrive. It's called Woman Thrive. And of course, in South Africa, we've just finished our Women's Month, and it's been an interesting Women's Month this time around because we couldn't have the gatherings like we used to be. But you know what? Because we're women, we made a plan. There were many webinars that have been around on all sorts of platforms, and we've just been able to do it because we can thrive. You know, it is in fact my belief that women are poised and positioned to take the world to the next level post-lockdown, because indeed as women we are patient, we are in fact astute, and we are very dedicated, we are disciplined, and of course we are loving, you know, and we also enablers, because when we are moving up, we are in a position to lift other women with us. Amen. So this afternoon, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome my sister, Pumela Salela, all the way in the UK, and she is obviously working for Brand SA in the UK. Welcome, Pumela.
Thank you very much, my sister, and happy Women's Month, even though it ended yesterday. Yes. Because I have not spoken you in the month of women, we have not seen each other. I just want to, from me as a woman and a sister to you, to say happy Women's Month, Mbogodo.
Thank you so much, Mbogodo Enkudu. Representing us very well in the UK. You know, go to my Bible, then just read something in Isaiah verse 43, Isaiah 43 verse 19, where he says, I'm about to do something new. See, I have already begun. Do you not see it? I will make a pathway through the wilderness. I will create rivers in the dry wasteland. I believe that's what he's doing, I think, during this time with some of us. course, it's dry, and everybody knows that we operate in a space that has been highly affected by lockdown. But he keeps on pushing us. He keeps on giving us these assignments, and there is nothing we can do except just to yield, because we have learned that, in fact, it is better to be obedient than to be a challenge if you actually do not, if you're not obedient. Sis Pumela, I just want to touch a little bit here on your bio. Yes, a highly accomplished lady who is the chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Scholarship Alumni Association, and also a mentor for the Gracia Machel Scholars. And of course, Sis Pumela has been featured in many magazines, including Destiny in South Africa. She is armed with an MBA. I met this lady for the first time a few years ago when you were still with the Department of Trade and Industry, and we were doing projects with you there. The one thing that I can remember clearly is that one of the days, one of my team members could not sleep because there was just so much to do, and because we were working for this lady who is so pedantic, we had to make sure. People, so okay, when she gets to see this, she will recall and remember this day. But it was such a pleasure because we worked with you in Durban, and then we worked with you again in Johannesburg. Cece, can you just tell us briefly about yourself? Well, I know you come from the Eastern Cape. Just touch a little bit so that if a child from Eastern Cape looks at this and on our YouTube page, they are just encouraged and inspired and excited to know what is possible from Eastern Cape to UK.
Yeah. Firstly, I think I should say that the one thing that you and I share that's in common is actually that being pedantic. And I prefer to call it a spirit of excellence. So I think part of the reason why we got along was because you and I both have a spirit of excellence, and we don't compromise about it. And trust me, when your staff didn't sleep, I also didn't sleep. So I actually also walk the talk. If it means you mustn't sleep, I also don't sleep. And funny enough, God will give you the grace that the following day you are rocking and rolling and nobody doesn't even realize that you didn't sleep. So that's actually my life. But in terms of where I come from, my sister come from humble beginnings. I'll start with my father. My father was an orphan. And then my mother was born of a single mother, not by choice. She was born of royalty. But even at that time, the issues of abuse and sexual harassment, even within the family, had started. And my grandmother decided to leave the royal homestead that she was married to and went to be a single woman who worked in the kitchens in Port Elizabeth, in a hotel called Griffin Hotel in Port Elizabeth. So I come from that mother who comes from a single mother, but by choice because she ran away from abuse. And my father, who is an orphan. And so my background is really like probably most African children, particularly who've grown up in South Africa, where you could not choose where you could live. And so I was born in a one-roomed house. And when I say one-roomed house, I mean you eat, you drink, you sleep, you do everything in one room. And then it was an achievement when my parents then moved on to a two-roomed place, which they got elsewhere. And from a two-room place, when they introduced above four-roomed houses, it was a huge achievement. And for me as a child, that was the biggest house that we had lived in as a child, because it had been this one-room house and two-room house and then that. And but the one thing I appreciate about my family and the values that my parents have instilled in me, even at that time, was that a house is not a home, because I didn't understand. Later on, I went to Model C school and everyone was laughing at me. Ukutimina, I was coming from, they used to call it the ghetto. And it's true, I was born in a township, but all of my schoolmates were living in suburbs. But my mother told me one thing. She said, a house is not a home. A home is made by the people inside it and the love that they have for each other. So that we don't have a big house does not really matter in the bigger scheme of things, because you will go to school, you will study, and you will be successful, and at the end of the day you will have the house that you wish for. And my parents told me that the one thing that they will invest in is education. And so they made sure that even though I was staying in this, what my schoolmates called ghetto, but I went to the best schools. My mother would sell everything from panties to perfume to everything, and work as a teacher during the day, work as a teacher at night school, to ensure that I got the education. I never owed any fees in my school because of my mother. And my father also played that very supporting role, starting from helping with the homework. And so I never actually even felt what you call poverty, you know, or because, you know, the way, as I'm saying, the way South Africa was structured was that as a Black person, you could never go and live, you know, in the posh areas. And so as a Black person, by default, you were born in poverty. But I never felt it because of the love that we had at home, and my parents were hardworking. And one thing that I appreciate from my growing up was a sense of community. And what you would find is that in the street of about 60 homes, everybody knew each other, name, clan name, everything. And every family was family. When I look at how, first of all, my mother, because she was a teacher, she would teach everybody in the street. And so she would teach us as children everything from nutrition to English language to everything. And I actually learned how to budget from the age of 7, because my mother was teaching all of us in the community for free. There was nothing like tutoring fees and extra lesson fees. If you were a teacher, you were a teacher for the whole community. So I benefited from that. And at a very early age, I had a notebook of budget and expenditure, of income and expenditure. If I bought fruit at school, I had to say I bought fruit for 20 cents. And then this is how it has affected my income. And those principles have helped me until today. I'm a good steward of money, you know, as much as I like and everything, but I know how to balance my life financially because of that grounding. And so I think, let me just pause there and
I'm actually finding that very interesting, you know,
really?
the role of parents, you know,
Yeah.
it cannot be overemphasized. But from what you've just told me, you know, a lot of people that would have had that grounding would probably be entrepreneurs, you know, and you have chosen to serve the country. Why?
Okay. Let me tell you, I was also on a journey of being an entrepreneur. And actually, when I applied for the Nelson Mandela Scholarship, and the reason why I applied specifically to do an MBA, Master of Business Administration, was because, you know, I used to watch these American movies. I used to see these people on TV, and they were looking all good, heading corporates and being on, you know, business people. I saw myself as one of those people. But the day that changed my life, my sister, is the day Nelson Mandela held me by the hand, gave me a scholarship to come and study here in the United Kingdom. And then he looked me in the eye and he said, "You are my ambassador. You carry my name." There's something magnetic or electric or there's something about Nelson Mandela's stature and presence, and you can never be the same after you've seen that man or that man has touched your hand. So in that moment, that's when I changed. And then I said, okay, I'm no longer going the entrepreneurial route. I'm going to serve my country. So that was my defining moment, actually. I became so patriotic that whatever business skills that I learned, I will bring them into my own work. And my work was very clearly defined. I said, I am going to market the country. So when I came to study here, it was more than 15 years ago. But when I left the UK, those many years ago, I said, I'm going to come back to the UK. I spoke to the sea, the land, the sun, the moon. I spoke and I said, I am going to come back to the United Kingdom. And when I come back, I'm going to serve my country and I'm going to play the role of brand South Africa. I said it by name, my sister, so many years ago as a student. I said, when I come back, I'm coming back in this role and nothing less, you know? And so 15 years later, I got into the role.
That's amazing. The power of words. Would you say that's just been always like a trajectory in your life? You speak things into existence. Is that how you normally operate, or is that how you've been guided and led by the Almighty?
Yeah.
All right.
I call myself the vision girl, and vision girl based on Habakkuk 2 verse 2 to 3. Absolutely. Which is about writing the vision down and then so that it's plain on a tablet, and also that you should wait for it, even if it may take a long time to come to pass. Wait for it, because it will surely come to pass at an appointed time. So 15 years later, from my having said, this is my vision, it came to life. As a result, my sister, I will tell you, when I went to the interview, I told them up front, I said, wait, before you start this interview, you have to know one thing. I'm here to get my dream job. They were like, huh? You know, when everyone is scared and shaky for interviews, I was like, I'm coming to take it all, because I said it. According to Habakkuk 2, verse 2 to 3.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, bring it on. You said, yeah, bring it on, but it's mine.
No, I said, do you know what I did? Even from the time I entered the parking lot, I was playing that song that says, Jehovah evula iminyango akekho ongavala. And I was pumping it. I was pumping it. And the security guard at Brand South Africa at that time was like, Sisi, like, ngithi habuthi ngiyakutshela ngizokutshela ukuthi mina ngizolanda what's mine, because Jehovah evula iminyango akekho ongavala. And then the security was like, does this thing really work though, Sisi? I said, it works, my brother. You're gonna see it through me. You know, you're gonna see it through me. And this was like the first interview of a long process of 6 months of interviews and tests and vetting and everything, that it came to pass. And I went to the security guard. I said, I told you, Uma uJehova evula iminyango akekho ongavala.
Uma uJehova evula iminyango akekho ongavala. So I know you've had different roles. You've had roles in the I think in the media space, working for a magazine, and I think you've had a stint on radio. You've done something in government. You've done consulting. So. But now you are here at Brand South Africa in the UK. What's your responsibility?
My role is twofold. The first is to promote South Africa as an investment destination. So what I do is to profile the country and its offerings across all the sectors of the economy and try and get investors to come and invest into South Africa. And then secondly, there is a number of South Africans who are outside South Africa, and so we call them global South Africans. So what we try and do is to encourage them to continue to fly the flag where they are and be a positive contribution to South Africa in terms of plowing back, even though they've decided to go and live overseas. And also encouraging a spirit of each of them being an ambassador for South Africa. So the lovely thing about Brand South Africa is that as long as you're a South African, you are an ambassador for the country. So we rely on you to, tell people positive things about the country. So in summary, I can summarize my job as those two, but I find myself playing social worker, playing a number of things, but again, it's the grace of God that carries me to be able to do even beyond my call of duty, because for me, this is not a job, it's a purpose, and more than anything, the pushy passion. So I don't feel stressed, even though I have a lot of work to do,
All right, perfect. Passion and a purpose is what pushes
Yeah.
Sis Pumela. I found a quote there, I think it is Project Inspired. It says, nothing is more beautiful than a woman who is brave, strong, and emboldened because of who Christ is in her. Is that you?
I would say so. Yo, where would I be without God? You know, even in my whole journey, it may appear as if, yeah, glory, 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 but hey, we've been tested, you know, we've been through a lot. There is one boss, yeah, in my journey of having worked. There is one boss whom I call my sounds teacher, because he was so horrible to me. He taught me his sounds. Yo, I prayed his sounds of that man, you know. and all of that stopped. So I'm trying to say, if then I had that situation, and I didn't have God, I would have resigned, you know. So this is how I laugh at it. I'm like, yo, that man taught me Psalms. I mean, I know the prayer bullets now for removing someone who's trying to be nasty to you. So I'm just saying that on a lighter note, but really, being brave is being defined as sometimes being afraid to do something but doing it anyway. So being brave is about having a spirit of fortitude, a spirit of going forward. What in the past in South Africa they used to call a spirit of asijiki. You know, if you know that this is your vision, this is your purpose, therefore nothing with Christ at the center. And the thing is, the beauty about being a child of God is that, you know, when you get a vision, Christ breathes life into it. And when it comes to pass, you know your source. And when someone tries to shake you, you tell yourself that it's not over until God says it's over. So we become these warriors, the children of God, that allow us then to be everything that you've mentioned, to be brave, to be strong, to be courageous. Kanti, there is nothing else as Tembele Kuyo except for, you know, Christ our Savior.
Hallelujah. Amandla, amandla kamoyo ingcwele. I had to do that. You know, I'm sure in your journey you've had some failures or disappointments. You know, because most people that have been as successful as you are would have experienced that. How have you handled that? Besides the Psalms boss.
Well, for me, it's all about, you know, taking every failure as a learning curve and taking every disappointment as maybe a sign that you need to change course or you're not where you're supposed to be. So where others would see failure, I see opportunity. And I always have this thing, Yoguti, if uwala, I'm vuka 2 steps further. So vuka in that area, same zone, obuwe kuyo. So fanele ube ngiphunyuka bamphethe, you know.
All right, okay. All right, okay. No, I hear you. Did you want to say something else?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, okay.
No.
So, all right. No, I hear you.
No, I'm fine.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
What are the attributes, Pumela, that you feel have assisted you to get? I mean, I think firstly, just from getting, I know how prestigious the Mandela Scholarship was, and I'm sure it wasn't easy for people to actually get through to that scholarship. And then obviously all the positions that you've held are quite prestigious positions. So which attributes have assisted you?
I'm a dreamer.
Dreamer.
I'm a dreamer. I first see it and then I receive it. You know, I receive it before it manifests. I actually have this dance. If I see something in the spirit, yo, Dichaiva, you know, the fact that I was born in a township comes out, yo, that is pencil and that's when I've received it in the spirit. I'm like, yo, you should see my legs now. It's just that, you know, this platform doesn't allow us for me to show you my pantula way that I do when I receive something in the spirit, you know. So I first see it, in the spirit, and then I receive it. And then, as I've said, then I write it down. So part of my being a dreamer is that because of that Habakkuk 2 verse 2 to 3, me being a vision girl, because the next line there says, write the vision down, so I write everything I dream about down. So the Nelson Mandela Scholarship, actually, for some of us, it may appear as if we just got into these places. It has not even been an easy journey, and I'll tell you why very quickly. With the Nelson Mandela Scholarship, in fact, it also taught me that you should accept where you are, because there's a reason, and embrace where you are. Because how I saw the Nelson Mandela Scholarship application form, I had just arrived in Joburg, being a girl from the Eastern Cape. I had no car. Nantatamat taxi Bree Street, like at 5 o'clock in the morning, for me to be at work at 8 a.m. And in that process, somebody else was reading, the Sowetan newspaper. Thank you, Sowetan. Somebody next to me was reading the Sowetan newspaper in the taxi. And then I saw, hey, this picture of Mandela and this scholarship. And because the person left the newspaper afterwards, I picked up the newspaper from the taxi, and then I went to apply for the Nelson Mandela Scholarship. Now, guess what? First time I applied, I didn't get it. I didn't get the scholarship. But because, remember, I'm a dreamer, and I write every dream down. I write the vision down. I was like, do you know what I used to do? After Mina, I didn't succeed, or I failed. We were talking about failure earlier. I used to go to the website, my sister. I used to look at it. I used to be like, I'm a Nelson Mandela scholar. You just don't know it yet. I used to go there and look at it and speak it. And I'll be like, I belong here. And yes, it is prestigious, because they're looking at 3 things. You had to have academic excellence. You had to have leadership qualities. And you had to show that you were also doing something that contributes to the community. But for some reason, some of the people that ended up getting it, because they would only take 10 people in the country, realized that, you had to be of a special kind for you to get it. But I never gave up. So when I didn't get it, I never gave up. I used to speak it, and used to go to the website. I used to live it. And then I applied again. So when I applied again, they said to me, you failed the last time. Why are you coming back? I said, no, it's because I know that it is my vision. And I know that I have all the qualities of a Nelson Mandela scholar as I stand here. And so I qualify. Maybe I didn't make it the first time, but it doesn't mean that I do not have the attributes that you're looking for. And I told them my whole life vision. I want to do this, I want to do that. And by the time I'm this, I'm going to do this. I think then they realize, you know what? She doesn't give up. And that is what has brought me to where I am, is that spirit of not giving up.
Write down your vision, make it clear, write it down, make it clear, and never ever give up. I know a lot of people once, because I think a lot of us are scared of rejection. So once you get rejected once and you're like, I know I'm not going to go back. What if it doesn't work? You need to have that spirit of persistence, especially when you've seen it, like you were saying, in the spirit. I know other people will be like, how do they see things in the spirit? Do you want to touch on a little bit around that? How do you see things in the spirit?
My sister, I think you can also answer this one, actually. So you will answer this one after me, because I know that now you are good. You are good in that.
The interview here.
I know your capabilities. So how do you see something in the spirit? I think it comes from spending time with God. If you're spending time with God, and spending time with God entails different things. Some people will say it's about waking up at a certain time and just sitting still. Others will say it's about waking up at a certain time and praying. It could also be dedicating a certain time in a month to fast and to pray. It could be about dedicating a certain time in the day to fast and to pray. So when you spend time with God, then there's a still, Mina, he speaks to me on my right ear, Shem. I'll be in the bathroom, I hear that voice here. you know, like right ear, I know it, that's right ear solves all my problems. You know, that's me. What he does is to tailor make his message to each of us, also according to our personalities. I'm the kind of, he knows, I don't know how do I say, what kind of person should I say I am, but he knows that, hey, if I speak to this child through this right ear, through that silent voice, I even go, you know, when I hear God, I even, it's like I can see him, I even go, okay, all right, okay, then I write it down, you know, and then after writing it down, then that's when I do my dance, my receiving dance.
I'm
After
so
that,
happy to hear you say this, because sometimes when I do my dancing, people think, you know, sometimes it can be extra, especially my kids. They're like, Ma, stop.
Oh. No, mommy is good. Mommy is good. David
Yes.
in the Bible used to dance for the Lord.
Absolutely.
That was his way, you know. So each of us have got different ways of worship. And in fact, there's something about, there was a book I once read many years ago. It was called Communion with God. And it was saying that one of the ways in which you can actually serve God is through your gifts. And that's many ways. So God will speak to you whilst you are doing that which you are gifted with, if you are pursuing your gifts, you know. So like Mina, the kind of Christian that I am is a happy, clappy, jumpy one, you know. But there are other people who don't like the happy, clappy, jump. It's too much for them. And also, I'm also not saying that, I'm also not comparing religions. Let me just be very clear, because I know religion is a very sensitive issue. I understand that we have a diversity of religions, and even within South Africa, no one religion is above any. What I'm trying to say is that, with all the respect, I do respect that we all have different ways of connecting with a being that is higher than us. And I respect everybody. I'm one person who will sit with people from different religious groups, and I will not judge them. I will not debate with them. The other thing I don't enter is debates about religion. I stay away. I'm not qualified. But the one that I believe in is this one. And so my reference then is this one. And I wish to also highlight that it should not be that we are imposing that this is the religion. I have to be very sensitive, because it's a sensitive issue.
Yeah, you're right. It's a sensitive issue, and I really appreciate that. I think we're on the same page on that. And, you know, I'm also like a Jesus girl openly. Everybody knows that. The tagline of our talk show is anchored in the word, and we mean the word of God. So you're right. It's different strokes for different people, but we have to respect everybody, because our constitution actually expects us to do that. Thank you for explaining that about this. Because I know a lot of people, and I'm never really sure when we're talking about the spiritual things, you know. I'm a worshiper, so I wake up with a song every day. Sometimes it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but that's what it is. Then I have to find out what is the story.
Look, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps, because I know what that feels
on that particular day. So it's gonna come differently for different people, and I think people need to understand this, because sometimes we get into this trap of spiritual gifts, and then people want to compare themselves. I was on radio. It's not about me right now, but I have to say this. I was on radio on Sunday, and I was very clear about the fact that people need to know that they are enough, because we all have a purpose in life. Everybody has a purpose in life, and people need to understand that. My viewers, I'd like to encourage them to really spend time with God, so that they can understand what their purpose is. Because if you're not living in purpose, in fact, on that note, let me just go now to our Facebook page and see if we've got any comments or questions, Sis P.
Okay.
All right. I've got Ushurata, there's my mentees, basically talking about the verse. I think she identifies with that verse. And then, of course, my dear sister Lapa, Amanda Mhlongo, your hometown girl from the Eastern Cape, Upunyuka Bempete.
You have to be.
Oh, yes. So, P, what is it that you know now for sure that you didn't know 5 years ago that has helped you in your leadership because you're now a leader?
It's actually okay. People, it's like, how do I put it? There are books on leadership, and they will tell you, you must do this, you must do that, and this is the best way to do things. So what I've learned at the end of the day is that, and I used this when I had to be a manager for the first time. I had studied all the books, but now I had a situation where I had to be a manager for the first time, and it was overwhelming. I was like, how do I do this? And the way I approached it was to say, how would I like to be treated, and if this is how I'd like to be treated, let me also then treat my subordinates this way. And that was not in any book. That was not in any management book, because management books will tell you, hey, there's MBO, management by objectives, and this and this. You come in and you just become so technical and you don't win people's hearts. So I've been able to win people's hearts and still get the work done by just being humane, something about humanness, where you are still the boss, but it doesn't mean that you should now lose ubuntu bakho. Hey, I've seen dear sisters, hey, when they come in, it's like everybody must hide, No, I'm very strict about the work that needs to be done. I remember, part of the work that I used to do was investment promotion for the country. And if my team, in fact, I used to tell my team that if we are going to another country to sell South Africa, before you enter that aeroplane, you must know what it is that you are entering that aeroplane for. This is not a trip. This is not a free trip overseas. You have to know what it is that you're going to achieve for your country. So what I'm trying to say is that your personality, your spirituality, your who you are can come into a leadership position. And maybe some people think that leadership is also about being harsh and pushy and abantu mabakuzwe ukuthi uwophethe. No, some of us decide on the sort of collaborative approach, but still achieving the goals. So I think for me, that's what I would say, because not many books will tell you that, hey, ibangumuntu, gumuntu, treat people with respect, even if they are your subordinates. And then, but that doesn't mean that you should lower the standards. So, Mina, I would even go as far as helping people with their thesis and their dissertation subordinates. And I would tell them that if you are my subordinate and I help you, you have to get an A. There's nobody I help with their thesis and they don't get an A. And they have received their A's, Wow. So it's that thing of being involved in a person's life beyond this is what you expect them to do at work, understanding them in their fullness,
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Ubuntu, that's our payoff line as Econo Thrive Global. We are
lovely.
I get excited when I hear people say these things, because sometimes it's like, are they sure? But it's not like just something we say. It's something that we do, and it's something that we believe in. All right. What's your take on mentorship and coaching? I think most people that have, progressed to the space where you are, they would have had a mentor at some point or a coach in their leadership journey.
For me, I think mentorship should not be done just for the sake of the word mentorship. And I also don't think, some people may have a different view, I don't think that it should be formalized, where you go to one venue, they say, okay, Sis Zodwa, you've been in business for 20 years through Econo, therefore now you're going to mentor that girl. No, I really think that there has to be chemistry. Even in mentorship, it's like any relationship. You have to find someone that you can truly identify with. And Mina, I believe it has to happen naturally, Shem. I don't believe that like it should be institutionalized. And I'm saying again, some people will differ. And for me, the people that I mentor is people that I've met and I've loved their work ethic. And, you know, we never even woke up and said, yeah, you'll be my mentor and I'll be the mentee or whatever. It just develops organically. If you can find people in your around you in your life that have what you are also looking for, and mind you, I think we should also get away from the notion that the mentor knows everything. These days, you can learn from your mentee as well. Hence, for me, it has to be a relationship that works, starting from a chemistry point of view, and also in terms of your life goals as well, and your outlook. Because imagine being mentored by somebody who doesn't see life the way you see it. They'll bring in their own values, which will clash with yours. They'll bring in, you know, their own, let's say, way of doing things, which might not necessarily be yours. So I believe mentorship should happen organically, naturally, natural chemistry, like any relationship, you know? And I think then that's the same with coaching as well, you know? But from a coaching point of view, though, I have seen that with the people who have taken coaching as a formal profession, they're at least skilled enough to be able to, if I'm Pumela and I want to go to a coach, they have the skills to help me navigate. It's more like going to a therapist or a psychologist where the person's training and skills are that, and therefore I've seen it work for certain people at certain levels, like maybe when they're executives and they want to work on certain aspects of who they are and where they want to go. So I've seen it working then in that formal setting. But again, it's up to the individual to say, where are you now and where do you want to go and what gaps do you want to close? And that should also determine the kind of coach that you get. I'm always though against people who, whether it's a therapist or a mentor, a person who say, you must do this, you must do that. And then if you don't do it, then they take it personal. It should be a safe space where you're also allowed to even make mistakes within, you know, the relationship, because we are human. But there are some people who also look at mentorship, at being mentors as like almost like bullying the other person now. Yeah.
Mentors, stop bullying people. You're supposed to be giving them direction.
Those who do.
You have to.
Those who do, because I don't want the mentorship profession coming here and toying. Those who bully people must stop bullying. They must look at themselves. So we're not dissing the whole mentorship profession, but we are saying that there has to be a sort of natural relationship that allows the space, you know, for each individual.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I really, really agree with you. And I really feel that people that, you know, feel that it works for them, they should really go for it, because it does work for some people. What advice would you give a 25-year-old Pumela? You at 25.
Sure.
What advice?
And for me, and you know what? Because I've always been such a dreamer, I'm actually been looking, where was I at 25? My God, I was traveling the world. I was living my best life, you know. I've always had this balance. I would say, you know what? Keep the balance, you know, the balance of being curious about life, the balance of humility, the balance of respect for people, and the balance of also being interested in other people and places and spaces with the and also I also have a childlike spirit, you know. And so I would also say to my 25-year-old self, keep that, because if you remember, when we grew up, we used to think that abosisi abana 25 badala, and we couldn't wait until we were 25, you know. So I would say keep the childlike spirit that you had, and don't aspire to grow old, you know. And again, keep the balance of seriousness and also playfulness.
I hope our 25-year-olds are listening to this, because sometimes they tend to be too serious, abantwana, these days. You really have to be serious, take yourself seriously, but still make sure that you are playful so that you can enjoy life, because life is meant to be enjoyed. Otherwise, what's the point? All right. Thank you so much. Maybe just before we close off, what's your take on the whole challenge of gender-based violence, especially in South Africa? If you were to advise our minister in the presidency responsible for women and children, what would you say to them?
Okay, I will not speak in that capacity, because then that goes into my job, and I don't have the mandate right now to advise any minister or president at this moment.
Okay, all right.
So I will then speak in my personal capacity.
Okay.
And say it's very sad. First of all, it's very sad, and but what I can say to my sisters, because most of the stories that you hear, you realize that this started somewhere, you know, or that maybe it started small and then it was incremental, or it started 10 years ago and the person stayed in the relationship. And when I say stay, it means girlfriend, boyfriend, married, not married, stayed in the relationship, and then it culminates into this big thing that maybe we hear. I don't want to even mention the atrocities that are being done on women. You know, it's just too painful. So I think I should say to my sisters out there, at the first sign, please get away. And when you get away safely. You know, I was speaking to someone who is considering leaving, you know, their relationship. And I said, can you please just make sure that by the time you are saying to this guy, you are gone, your clothes are not there, everything is not there, you know? So be systematic even about how you are ending the relationship or closing the relationship, so that you don't put yourself in the danger of some men saying, if I can't have you, then nobody else can have you. So be very strategic about everything, but get out at the first sign. You know, you must also have friends that you don't have to explain yourself to, where if you just knock into the house and like and want to sleep in their couch, they don't have to ask you what happened. We should allow each other to be those sisters amongst ourselves. And also to the men, I am just encouraged, you know, for me, men who support women's causes, I call them progressive men. I am encouraged that in the midst of all of this, we still do have men who are saying, not in my name, you know, and we need to encourage them as well to come out and speak out. And others are saying, look, guys, and they're speaking men to men to say, no matter how angry you are, it does not justify you committing such atrocities on your partner, you know. So and we should ensure that this just spreads across, you know. Men and women must speak in one voice. Ukuthi no, maskuzaneni, yeah.
Okay, I couldn't have said it any better. Men and women must speak in one voice. Maskuzane. Sister Wami, thank you so much for your time. What is your a message that you would like to leave to women who are in leadership positions across all sectors?
Okay. Continue to shine the light within you, because each of us has got a light within us. It may have been dimmed at childhood by some adult or circumstances, but each of us has a light within us, and we need to find that light and shine it, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, hence for me, my favorite poem is the one by Marianne Williamson, which is A Return to Love. And maybe this is what I can dedicate to the women, because it's says our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us the most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. We were born to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. I didn't know you have this gift of the spoken word. I was almost tempted to say,
it's the grace of God.
Hallelujah. It is in the grace of God. Thank you so much, Sisi, for joining us.
You'll be surprised. I used to go to the Bed Center in Durban and do spoken word there. I wear many hats.
I'm happy to know that there are people
next time I'm in Durban, you know, we can go there. You'll see the other side of me.
Oh, okay, that's exciting. I'm actually even more excited to hear that there are people that went to the Bed Center for the reason that you are alluding to, because some of us went to the Bed Center for the other reasons. I'm not going to get into that because in our 20s,
that was BC before Christ. I always say there's BC and there's AC. There's BC before Christ, AC after Christ. We all have stories.
I like that. Before Christ, now we are after Christ. What an absolute pleasure. Siswami, to have you this afternoon. I really appreciate you. This is Pumela Salela, who works for the brand South Africa in the United Kingdom. And of course, she is our first guest for the Woman Thrive movement. One day when we write our books and whatever that we will be writing about this movement, you must know that you were our very first guest for the Woman Thrive movement. I really, 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 really appreciate that. And of course, my name is Zuzodwa Msimank, coming to you live on our Facebook page, Thriving in Abundance. We're coming back again onto your screens on Facebook on Thursday at 12 o'clock now with our main show as Thriving in Abundance. Sisi, let me wish you everything of the best in the UK. You are now, it's not cold, it's cool. Now it's like still summer, eh?
Hey, yeah, it's very warm. Yeah.
You know, this corona and lockdown, I know.
Ngibonga kakhulu for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
I'd like to wish you everything of the best, and may God richly bless you abundantly. So thank you to Busi Shabala, who is the producer of our show, and all the team members at Econo Thrive Global.